Christian, and I every dance. I'm a Buddhist, and I wear no clothes. I'm a pedo, and I think that shows. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. I'm an alpha, I live with my dad. You're a simp bro, and I'm just a Chad. I'm a black belt, you know what it is. And my carpet, it's all covered in jizz. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. I'm an alpha, I live with my dad. You're a simp bro, and I'm just a Chad. I'm a black belt, you know what it is. And my carpet is all covered in jizz. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing.
Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around.
All right, welcome everybody back to another special afternoon DP stream. I'm slowly making the transition from doing these from this channel to the Altered Perspective channel. So if you want to start catching more of these, I'm doing them on both right now, and I'm also streaming to Twitch because why not? I'm doing a multi-stream, but if you want to watch the playback of this stream later, you have to go to the Altered Perspective channel. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Because YouTube kind of punishes you if you do too many uploads or live streams in a day. They don't send out notifications for more than just one of them. So if you do a stream in the morning and then you do a stream at night, there might not be as many notifications coming out at night. And I've tested this theory, and this is kind of, a lot of people have known about this for a while. You only get so many notifications a day, and some even say a week. But there's no place you can go and actually look this up to confirm this. YouTube doesn't post their own rules. So So yeah, please like the stream no matter which channel you're watching it on currently. And we're going to check out some of this other stuff. We've got, this is a really short video here. Very, very short. It's only a few seconds long. This is about as much as I can get away with playing WWE. But this is kind of funny. Here's the clip. And we'll discuss it when it's over. It's like 12 seconds long.
But throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
And look at the guy holding it. He's like a guy with like a red beard.
Hell yeah.
Good. Good.
Good.
Check a box.
Good. Good. One more time. One more time. Here it is.
But throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
Hell yeah.
Good. Good.
Check a box.
Check a box. So now there has to be a quickie article written about Cody Rhodes now, right? Is it already up? Because they're usually pretty quick to get that put up. This is at some event for the Royal Rumble that's happening today. He was doing some kind of Q&A. He's like, hold your sign up, man. What's your sign say? And he was probably like, what the fuck? What does that mean? One more time.
But throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
And there's the little, there's the blue heart and the little like Sonichu lightning bolts on it. It's crazy how it's crazy how many people know who Chris Chan is. Christine Chandler does love Barb. So it's not an untrue statement. It's just, I have to watch it again. I watched it like 50 times last night.
Throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
Hell yeah.
Good.
I wonder if he knows by now. I wonder if someone was like, dude, did you know what you just said? And now he knows the lore and wishes he didn't know. I'm just imagining. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does he know about our goddess Blueheart, Jesus Christine Sonichu Prime? Maybe he's a fan now. Yeah, it's there's only so much you can say about a 12-second clip, you know? Let's watch it again, though.
But throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
Oh, my God. I wonder how many people know about that. Hold on. You heard a couple people laugh, too. I heard a few people laugh out loud like, hey. Indianapolis, far from the best city in the country. I'm sorry. It is not the best city in the country. They do not believe Indiana. Yeah. Yeah, I don't believe, like, if you polled, you know, random people on the street from all over the country, I don't think most people would agree. All right, one more time, and then we'll move on to something else. I love it.
But throw.
I did this with the Elon salute video too. It was hilarious. Look at that. Someone's holding up a sign that says "Prime tastes bad," because they're sponsored by Prime because Logan Paul is a wrestler. So it's really funny. Someone got in a sign that said "Prime tastes bad."
But throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
I've only had Prime a couple times, and I got the one that was supposed to taste like a rocket pop. It's like a melted rocket pop, and it was too sugary. I'm like, this is supposed to be like a hydration drink, but it's really like it tasted very sugary. It probably has like stevia or something like that in it. I don't know. It was too sweet for me. I don't know what you think. There were 78,000 viewers watching this too. You can, I'm covering it. You see it? 78,000 viewers. They just got to hear that Christine Chandler loves Barb. So the merge is spreading and growing by leaps and bounds. No, a hydration drink should not have a chemical taste to it. They're turning the frogs gay with that Prime. We drink the chemicals in Prime, and then we pee them into the toilet, and then they re-enter the water supply, and then they turn the frogs gay. It's way too sweet. I don't know why anyone would want to drink that shit. They did. I like how South Park made fun of it. It was called Cred. Cred. Are you drinking Cred? All right, I lied. One more time.
But throw that up. What does that say? Christine Chandler loves Barb.
Hell yeah.
Good?
Hell yeah.
Good.
Check a box.
I don't know who the other person on stage with him is, but he was like, hell yeah, check a box. Christine Chandler loves Barb. I wonder what convinced him to react to that sign out of all the other signs. Obviously, he's gonna ignore the Prime tastes bad sign. I just grinded up some golden pineapple. It's one of the few strains I actually know the name of. There's so many strains, by the way. Loading up my... Oh!
Had sex with a deaf fella, now I got hearing aids.
Ah, I see what you did there. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to get closer to the goal. I'm hoping by the end of this stream I could be at 45 to 50%. Really hoping. So if you guys want to help out, do me a favor. Like the stream, that's free. And then send me a couple bucks there in the... Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Master Sin. 20 bucks, 20 bucks. Yeah, because we have another show later tonight also. So just trying to get the ball rolling on the goal. It's the first of the month. That means the rents are due. The rent is too damn high. So I'm trying to crush this goal, usually it bleeds into Sunday these days, which I'm fine with. Then I usually take Monday off. But yeah, if you guys would be so kind, help me get a little closer to the goal. Thank you. So that was Pat McAfee saying that. Check a box. I didn't watch it. I won't be able to watch the Rumble tonight either. I'll probably watch the replay of it. And by then it'll probably already be spoiled for me who won. I don't care. They do it every year. The Rumble is my favorite wrestling event, though. I went to it live 9 years ago. In January 2016. All right. He was a kicker, okay? He was a kicker. Whew. Yeah, and most people say Royal Rumble 92 is the best one ever. I like that one. And then I like the one where John Cena and Batista accidentally eliminated each other at the exact same time. And they couldn't figure out who had won. And then Vince McMahon came out and like tore the quads on both of his legs. It had to like sit down and act like and like freak out. Okay, well, enough wrestling talk. We're going to watch some news stuff right now. Let's do the DP Action News.
He called me, sir, and got me so fuming angry.
People are discriminating against wolves. Wow.
They're laughing at us, at our stupidity.
You all better well learn to love it. You better well. Let's check out Speaker Johnson teases significant cuts to government spending. Let's see what he says here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. If you want this bill to be deficit neutral, and as you say, extend the Trump tax cuts, not raise taxes, and as you said yesterday, will not affect Social Security and Medicare benefits, it's likely that you're going to have deep spending cuts given the price tag of this agenda. How have you identified over these last few days the areas where you're going to cut spending so that you can credibly say that this is going to be deficit neutral, or has there been no agreement?
Well, no, we've been. This is exactly what we've been engaging in for many weeks. In fact, some of the members are so exhausted with going through the menu of cuts and options that they said they're now tired of talking about it, which is exactly where I wanted them to be. Now we got to move to the action step. So what we've been doing is we empowered the committee chairs, as you know, to come up with lists of areas, suggestions, in their areas of jurisdiction where some of these cuts could be done, meaningful cuts, to really reduce the size and scope of government and get government to be more efficient and effective for the people. So that's these are lots of handouts and sheets and big screens we've been going through for many weeks now, and we're finalizing all that now. So let's
get a definite plan here. Let's know what the exact plan is. What are you cutting? Tell us.
I mean, we're not going to publish the list at this point, but
why not?
That's part of this process to make sure everybody's on the same page about all of it. So, Segro.
Oh, damn. Poor Cody is going to go home and look up Chris Chan and be scared for life. Yeah, that might be it. Ignorance is bliss. He probably did not want to know all of this. Here's CDC website scrubs HIV content following Trump diversity policy changes.
Tonight, NBC News has obtained a memo ordering that all references to, quote, gender ideology be removed across the federal government. The deadline was about an hour and 20 minutes ago at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we're seeing those changes take effect as we speak. The memo orders agencies to do things like take down all public websites and social media accounts that promote, quote unquote, promote gender ideology, and turn off Microsoft Outlook features that prompt staff to write out their pronouns.
Oh my God. So like their internal Microsoft Outlook that they all use to send internal emails. I guess there was a prompt to like put your pronouns in your profile, and they got rid of that. It's so petty. Who cares? Can't the option be there? And then like if people don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. I don't understand.
Also orders an end to any employee resource groups.
By the way, price of eggs still like over $7 for a dozen eggs. At least in my area, that's what it is. More than $7 for a dozen eggs.
Promote gender ideology.
I thought he was going to fix all that shit. Why hasn't any of the like price of essentials come down? Why have we not seen that yet?
This happening right after the CDC scrubbed a bunch of HIV-related content from its website as part of President Trump's efforts.
I don't get the HIV. Isn't HIV like a horrible disease that was one time like a global epidemic, and all of the focus and in research has gotten us to a point where it's not a death sentence anymore? I don't get it. Is it because it used to be like the gay disease in the 80s and so they're like, "Oh, that's DEI. Get rid of it." Is that why? I don't understand.
Roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives across the federal government. The agency started taking down all content related to gender identity today. That is according to one government staffer, as well as HIV-related pages. Those were apparently part of that scrub. Remember, earlier this week, the Trump administration...
So they took down HIV-related pages from the CDC website as part of the anti-DEI sweep in the government. I don't get how that's a thing. Like, HIV is not DEI. Unless they're still under the old mentality where, it's all like, that's the gay disease, HIV. Only the gays get it.
Started telling organizations in other countries to stop giving out HIV drugs that were bought with U.S. aid, even if they'd already received the medications, and those medications are there sitting in local clinics. Let's bring in Berkeley Lovelace, who has been reporting on this for us. Hey, Berkeley. Berkeley, what pages were taken down, and what are you hearing from people inside of the agency on these new policies?
Yeah, so as of this afternoon, several CDC pages have disappeared as officials move.
Yeah, I wonder if Trump's aware that we can't grow coffee in 49 of the 50 states. And then, like, the only state we can grow coffee in, it would take, like, an airplane to ship it to the rest of the country. Does he know that?
To rush to meet today's deadline. So key resources for healthcare providers are gone. Information about gay and bisexual men and transgender people are gone. Pages on racial disparities in HIV are gone. Resources on risk behaviors for youth are gone. And that's just some of the pages that have disappeared. There are many more that we're finding right now. One government staffer I spoke with called the process demoralizing. They said the officials or employees were initially unsure how to implement this new policy, but as the deadline loomed, they were left with no choice but to take down almost everything. And so, according to them, this new policy has effectively shut down the CDC's ability to combat HIV in the very groups most impacted by this virus. And right now, they have no idea if or when these pages will be restored.
And in terms of what you've heard from experts, how have they said this will impact AIDS care, particularly when it comes to minority communities?
Yeah, so experts are deeply concerned about this change. The CDC's HIV prevention work dates back to the early 1980s. Experts warned that the moves by the Trump administration could essentially dismantle the CDC's efforts to...
What did he say? What did he just say?
Essentially,
prevent HIV because addressing disparities based on race and sex and gender identity are fundamental to their work. So HIV has long disproportionately impacted minority groups, including Black and Latino people, gay and bisexual men, and transgender people. And the CDC plays a crucial role in tracking HIV infections, nationwide providing millions of grants to state and local health departments, and helping lead on-the-ground efforts to combat the virus. So one staffer I spoke with kind of put it plain.
What the fuck is going on with this guy?
It's kind of put it plainly that, like, how are we going to be able to talk about the risk if we can't acknowledge it? And so this is something that we'll have to follow very closely.
All right, Berkeley Lovelace, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
So one staffer I spoke with kind of put it plainly that, like, how are we going to be able to talk about the risk if we can't acknowledge it? And so this is something that we'll have to follow very closely.
All right, Berkeley Lovelace, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for... Here's a little more on that.
And as a part of President Trump's return, sweeping changes have been made to federal websites.
That includes the purge of LGBTQ plus content, and the sites, they already look different. This is what the Department of Health and Human Services website looked like last week. And that same page looks like this is a Friday at 5 o'clock.
Page not found.
The orders to purge these sites came down from the Oval Office. The Trump administration wiping clean content from sites under the DHHS umbrella, which includes the Centers for Disease Control and National Institutes of Health.
Color me shocked, right? The president's attacking the LGBTQ community again. This is
Equality Michigan.
When he was campaigning, and now he's making good on promises he made to his base.
Emmy Zanotti with the Equality of Michigan Action Network says LGBTQ plus folks are already reeling with other executive orders targeting their community. Now this.
They try to wordsmith, they try to delete things, they try to, erase us essentially, but you can't do that.
Hold on, what did she just say?
Essentially.
Right, trans people and LGBTQ people have been here since the beginning of time, right? And that's just evidenced by me standing here today.
As of Friday, unrelated LGBTQ plus content was taken down too, a tool the CDC uses to measure data on sexually transmitted infections, another to study natural disaster response. And there's no more access to tracking system on health-related behavior of high schoolers.
It's really disappointing to see. We're going to see how all of this continues to play out, and we're not going to issue any kind of knee-jerk reactions to the long-term impact until we know more.
So, Brandon, it's unclear if this is temporary or permanent. We did reach out to the CDC for comment.
News Edge.
But they did not get back.
The edgiest of edgy news. This is obviously Detroit news. I can see the GM tower over on the left, just to the left of the guy standing there. That's like the GM building in downtown Detroit, right near the river.
With us in time for this story.
Yeah, this is something that a lot of people want to pay attention to because you have a bunch of marginalized people who feared that this would happen if President Trump got into office, which has happened. So it's been a very turbulent couple weeks for certain groups in our country.
Sure.
So we'll see how this continues to unfold.
Yeah, some of that unrelated content was just interesting too to see that disappear, but we're unsure if it's.
Is he wearing a green suit jacket with a blue, like a light blue shirt and a brown tie? It's an interesting blend of colors there.
Temporary or not,
Yeah.
So we'll have to stay tuned.
All right, Jess, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We can't see what color his pants are. Here's a guy that was pardoned by Trump, and I guess he got killed.
And I do want to get to a developing story coming in out of Indiana. That is where a man was fatally shot by a deputy during a traffic stop just days after he was pardoned by President Donald Trump for a misdemeanor related to the incident that took place there at the Capitol back on January 6th of 2021. Matthew Huddle, 42 years old, of Hobart, was killed Sunday by a Jasper County Sheriff's deputy. That is according to authorities in the area. State police, we're told, are investigating. That is his photo right there from his arrest following the situation at the Capitol. Now, the state police did say the deputy tried to arrest Huddle when, quote, an altercation took place between the suspect and the officer, which resulted in the officer firing his weapon and fatally wounding the suspect. State police said, quote, the investigation also shows that during the traffic stop, the suspect was in possession of a firearm. At this point, no other details have been released, and authorities did not say what might have prompted that traffic stop altogether.
Yeah, I wonder why they were trying to arrest him.
Sheriff Patrick Williamson saying, quote, our condolences go out to the family of the deceased, as any loss of life is traumatic to those that were close to Mr. Huddle. Nick Barnes, an attorney who is representing Huddle in pending motor vehicle cases in Lake County.
Oh, so he has other shit going on. He's got a rap sheet.
He said he didn't know the circumstances of the shooting, saying, quote, I plan to find out a lot more about it. In 2023, Huddle was sentenced to 6 months in custody after pleading guilty to entering a restricted building, the U.S. Capitol. He had traveled with his uncle to Washington, D.C. to attend the January 6th pro-Trump rally. Huddle was inside the Capitol for about 16 minutes and recorded it on video. That is according to authorities. In a court filing, defense attorney Andrew Hemmer said, quote,
these people provided,
he is not a true believer.
They provided their own evidence of, that got them convicted. Many of them.
In any political cause. He instead went to the rally because he thought it would be a historic moment, and he had nothing better to do after getting out of jail for a driving offense.
Oh, he had already been to jail.
You can see these photos provided by...
A driving offense. What was it, a DUI? Or was it like reckless driving?
By the Department of Justice following his arrest. His mugshot there on the left-hand side, but also on the right. You saw one of the photos showing him, according to authorities there, at the actual incident there at the Capitol. Again, January 6th of 2021. An Indiana man there fatally shot by a deputy during a traffic stop days after being pardoned by President Donald Trump. If there are any updates, any more information provided by state police or the...
Indiana is a wasteland. Ridiculous. Illinois Attorney General reacts to Dr. Phil questioning detained migrants. Yeah, Dr. Phil, instead of doing the like Oprah style show where he like psychoanalyzes people and goes, "What is wrong with you?" Now he's reporting on detained migrants and shit. That's his new thing. That's his new business.
Begin the hour with CNN's Priscilla Alvarez. Priscilla, are these raids still happening this morning? It sounds like this is ramping up as the days go on.
I'm told by sources that this is going to be a multi-day operation. All officials.
Where's the Dr. Phil part?
I sat there until I reached my limit.
Now we're right or
specifically Trump administration has, quote, declared Chicago ground zero for immigration enforcement. What do you make of that?
Well, I haven't seen the lawsuit that you're referring to, but certainly we've heard prior to President Trump taking office that Chicago would be targeted. We were expecting it. I think immigration enforcement should take place. However, it should not be targeted for political reasons.
And, sir, I wonder if you can help us out with something. NBC is citing Trump administration officials reporting that more ICE operations are expected today in Illinois. Are you hearing that as well? Are you getting notification from ICE officials, from the administration that this is going on or this is ramping up?
CNN has been editing their videos lately to like make them really long, and only a small part of them is actually about what the title says. Here's another one. I think this is from CBS.
Riding along
NBC.
On one of those ICE raids, as we saw there in Chicago, was Dr. Phil McGraw, the TV host embedded with U.S. immigration enforcement officers during an operation in Chicago on Sunday, defending President Donald Trump's deportation effort. Here's a clip of one of those arrests carried out with the Trump administration border czar Tom Homan.
I'm not the center. I'm talking about lawyer.
Yeah, Dr. Phil. Okay. So there's Homan in the back there wearing the baseball cap. And then they're blurring out the faces of the ICE agents. And then there's Dr. Phil. He's like, "Hey, I'm staring at you like you're a zoo animal." And then the guy's just kind of like, "What's going on?" And then he recognizes him. The guy's like, "You're Dr. Phil."
Are you a citizen? My mother's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen?
Yes.
But you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You're Dr. Phil.
He's like, "You're Dr. Phil."
You're Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
How do you know me? It's like, because you've been on TV for like 25 years, right? I mean, like, how do you know me? You dipshit. How do you think people know you? Like, the news is covering the fact that you're getting involved in this, so that means you're somebody that's recognizable. How do you know me? You're a foreigner. Do foreigners know me? What a fucking lolcow. Yeah, he is a lolcow. It's ridiculous. How did you know me?
But you're not?
Nope.
And then the guy looks at him, he's like, wait a minute.
But you've never been deported before?
You're Dr. Phil.
He's like, you're Dr. Phil.
You're Dr. Phil.
Yeah?
How do you know me?
How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
I want to see Dr. Phil interview Jimmy Payne. Could you imagine that?
Yeah? Yeah. Well, this is an example of saying...
What a great interview Dr. Phil did. How do you know me? That was his question. Well, he's like, are you illegal or are you a citizen? And then he's like, how do you know me? Great interview skills from Dr. Phil.
Cities, right? We got...
Yes. I thought of Chris Hansen. When I saw Dr. Phil doing this, I'm like, yeah, this would be the new Chris Hansen grift. Because I remember after the predator catcher thing dried up, well, it didn't dry up, it got canceled because someone blew their head off. But he moved to the scammers, African scammer people. He moved on to that, and then he tried to get back into the predator shit.
Illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. He's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall.
Yeah, so they're going to show the worst examples of the undocumented people. It's like, oh, well, he's a molester. It's like, okay, sure, he should be arrested then and deported. Well, depending on where he committed the crime, I don't know. If he committed the crime in the U.S., he should be put in prison in the U.S., not just released free in another country. And then deport him after he does his sentence, whatever. But they're only going to show this aspect, the worst examples of undocumented immigrants.
The problem with the sanctuary city that people like us walking the street rather than law enforcement working with federal agents, this is what we're dealing with. Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really? Well, I mean, either you have or you haven't.
Not really?
All right, and with that, Dr. Phil McGraw joins Top Story once again. He's the host of Dr. Phil Primetime on Merit TV. Dr. Phil, it's great to see you again. So, Dr. Phil, I'm going to ask you this very plainly, right? Everyone knows who you are. You're a psychologist, Hall of Fame broadcaster, you're a celebrity. What exactly were you doing there this weekend on those raids?
Well, Tom, thanks for having me again. It's good to see you again. This is something that I deal with what people are interested in and how it's impacting their lives. And our viewing audience is very interested in these immigration laws and what's happening. It was one of the top issues on people's minds culturally and what's impacting their family.
Thankfully, it's not impacting me, but I guess I'll see. I mean, it might have some. A lot of businesses out there might have to start paying new employees a lot more money. And that could have a ripple effect where the prices of everything go up. Just saying.
And we talk about the things that people are interested in on Merit TV. And what we want to do is show them with full transparency what's actually happening. And, there's been a lot of talk out there about sweeping through neighborhoods, just picking up.
I'm fine with people getting paid more, but we need some sort of price, certain price controls for certain goods, essential goods, essentially essential goods.
Indiscriminately, and I wanted to see if that was happening. Part of my embedding within this group was to ask Tom Homan hard questions. I asked him, are you just sweeping through neighborhoods and picking up people that are here illegally? And he said, no, that's not our intention. We have our plan right now is worst first. We're going after those that have the worst criminal records first. And this is a surgical, tactical plan.
They're not, though. They're not just going for people that have the worst records. This is verifiably untrue. There's been several raids in places where people were working and they didn't have any criminal records and they got deported. So this is a lie. You're lying, Dr. Phil. Yeah, this dude, he had a bad criminal. If I just take your word for it, he had a sex crime. So yeah, get rid of him. Like, hold him accountable according to the law.
To go in and get those people. And sanctuary cities are not letting them know when they have these people in custody so they can come to the jail and pick them up. And what's happening with sanctuary cities is they're creating that which they want.
They don't want people. They don't want people to not call first responders when they need to because of their immigration status. Like, if people are afraid that they'll get arrested and deported, they're less likely to report crimes and emergencies. That's the thought put into like sanctuary cities, if you want to call them that.
The least, and that is they're causing these agents, as Gabe was talking about, to go into the communities and arrest these people on the job or in their neighborhoods. And when they go in to get someone that's a violent criminal, whoever's with them, they're going to find out who those people are.
Oh, really?
And they may wind up arresting them as well, because when they run into someone that is in the country illegally, they are going to detain them and move them for deportation. That's not going to happen if they'll let them know when these people are in jail and being released back into the community. Pick them up right there.
Dr. Phil, from what you saw, were these undocumented immigrants being treated humanely?
Absolutely.
Here we don't have a state income tax, but we have a rather high state sales tax. So regardless of your status here, you're paying taxes like into the local economy. There's state and local sales taxes, but we don't have income taxes here. So everybody, even people, regardless if they're like legal and they're visiting from another state, or, you know, if they are illegal here and they're buying shit, they're paying taxes. They're all paying taxes here.
Absolutely. I was there at 4 a.m. when they had the debriefing. This was a multi-agency meeting with ICE, DEA, ATF, FBI, U.S. Marshals, and their number one concern was the safety of their agents, of all the people in the community, and of the people that they were targeting.
We have the highest distilled spirits tax of any state in the United States here in Washington. If you look at like the prices on hard liquor, the taxes by state on hard liquor, it's the highest by far. It's ridiculous. And then there's two states, Wyoming and New Hampshire, that don't have any liquor tax.
Even though they're criminals, they were very concerned with their safety and getting them detained out of the community and into custody safely. They said, let's make sure everybody gets home safely today.
Dr. Phil, so you heard Gabe's reporting there, my conversation with him. Of the, nearly 1,200 people arrested on Sunday, nearly half of those people weren't considered people with criminal records, right? Their offense was that they were here illegally. You just said you were told the worst first.
Yeah. So I'm glad he's getting called out on his misinformation. If that's all they were doing, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm not completely against this action specifically. Like, if they're just getting rid of like violent offenders, that's fine with me.
It appears, at least on this day, that's not exactly what happened. Again, as Gabe pointed out, it's very complex. But does it sow doubt now with Americans and maybe with the world that it is going to be a roundup. It's not just the worst first, it's whoever they can grab. Is that your sense?
Absolutely not. But let me tell you, they're in the country illegally, and Tom Homan's intention is if you're
Tom
in the country,
Homan is a mushed mouth fucking idiot. he always sounds like he's choking on his own saliva. Just a quick aside here. I've shown this before, but here it is. This is So this is the cost per gallon. Okay, so if you bought a gallon jug of tequila, they would add $36.55 to whatever else that tequila cost. In Nevada, it's only $3.60 per gallon. Pennsylvania, $7.39 per gallon. It's fucking insane. Well, this isn't per gallon pricing. This is just them breaking down the tax. Most people wouldn't buy a gallon of liquor, but this is just to keep it simple. They're showing how much tax, because you pay it by volume. The tax is a by volume thing. So it's $36.55 per gallon in Washington State.
illegally, you need to self-deport, because if they catch you in the country illegally...
Yes, it's Costco's fault. It's Costco's fault that we pay such a high liquor tax here.
You could be barred for coming back into the country for a number of years. And if they're forced into the community to arrest these people, they are going to check everyone that's with them at the time. And that's going to mean more people are arrested sooner and taken out of the country.
He's like, hey, we can't help it if we show up and we're arresting this molester over here, and there's these other people, we're going to check them out too. And he's talking like he's a member of ICE. You notice that? It's kind of like Ted Nugent, how he likes to go riding around with ICE also. I think he goes riding around with like the DEA or like the ATF. There's like rich weirdo celebrities that think it's fun to like hang out with cops while they like raid people and shit. Maybe I'll get to shoot a person.
Before they have an opportunity.
Deer and elk got boring.
To leave voluntarily and then apply to come back in. So I'm not surprised that there are people that are being arrested, detained, and processed for deportation that are not violent criminals, because they're being forced into the community to arrest these people that they could be picking up in jail and not encountering those people that aren't violent criminals.
Last question here, Dr. Phil.
In the country illegally.
Last question for you. Let's combine your psychology and the politics, if you will. Will President Trump, because the polls have showed that a majority of people do want undocumented immigrants to be deported, right? The polling is on his side. But if they start deporting the people who were here illegally but not committing crimes, and they separate families, or they're taking people out who have children who may be born in this country, are considered Americans, will Trump...
Yeah, I saw this news story where this one guy, he voted for Trump, and then his wife got deported. Because she was illegal, but like going through the process of getting naturalized, and they came and arrested her. Like, she was not a criminal. She was just illegal. Like, and when I say criminal, I'm there's a conversation that we're having about, is the crime that they were here illegal? I mean crimes in addition to that. But yeah, he's all like, dude, you got Trump. You got to give my wife back. And it's like, dude, you voted for Trump. And he said he was going to deport illegals. They even said she had like a hearing scheduled to get a visa.
Sort of lose.
I don't know. Like when they're married, it should be really easy to get to get her a green card. So that's weird. Maybe they were just like slacking on it. Because it should be pretty quick.
The country, or at least the people who are favoring deporting the people right now, if they start to see those images?
Look, I don't think anybody wants to see families fragmented. And I know there are people that have been here a long time. They've done a good job. They're paying taxes. They're contributing. And I think there is some legislation afoot that I'm beginning to hear about where people could have an opportunity to get work permits and to, if they self-deport, to come back in under visas and things of that nature, where they could have a way to be here and find a path back to the United States, and everybody wants that. You know, Tom, I'm very pro-immigration. We need immigrants in this country. We need them for the workforce. We need their talents, their skills, their abilities. We need so many things that immigrants bring. Our birth rate is too low. We need immigration in this country. We're a country of immigrants. So I think there's got to be a way to work this out. And look, our immigration system is broken. When it takes 7 years to get an immigration hearing where you can get into the country properly, somebody's got to fix that system. So I think there have to be some things where we look for solutions, not just getting people out of the country, but finding a way to get them back into the country.
Dr. Phil, always a pleasure to talk to you here on Top Story. We thank you for your time
Always a pleasure,
tonight.
Dr. Phil.
Thank you, Tom. Good night.
Thanks for watching. Let's just kick them out and they can try to get back in again. What's wrong with that? I was looking for that. Is this it? I wonder which. I was trying to find the story where the guy's wife got deported. I can't find the exact one. Florida man. It's a Florida man story. Here it is. I guess this is the best one I can find.
They turned off the cameras, excuse my language, and then they took my wife.
This man who wished not to be identified says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in the United States for a few years. She was one of 3 people taken from this home. I'm told the 2 others were men who worked in construction. You see them here. This video, only 1 minute and 52 seconds long, we do not see his wife being removed from the home. But this is a picture of her that he keeps in his wallet.
She's gone.
Her name is Vianis Ramirez, and he says she was in the process of becoming a United States citizen.
She already had a court date. She was good. Everything good. He just came and they snatched her.
These are pictures from the Department of Homeland Security detaining other undocumented men and women in Broward County.
It's despicable what they're doing right now. It's very embarrassing.
President Donald Trump arrived at his Trump National Golf Resort in Doral Saturday, set to host GOP leaders for a conference. This man hopes this message makes it to him.
I get a chance to talk to you, man. Yo, please, man, let's work something out. So you, man, let me keep.
Wow, he is not a very good speaker.
My wife here in the United States, man, she deserves to be here, man.
ICE reports nearly 1,000 rapes.
Did anyone understand what he said there?
I get a chance to talk to you, man. Yo, please, man, let's work something out. So you, man, let me keep my wife here in the United States, man. She deserves to be here, man.
ICE report.
Oh God!
Makes it to him.
I get a chance to talk to you, man, yo, please, man, let's work something out. So you, man, let me keep my wife here in the United States, man. She deserves to be here, man.
ICE reports nearly 1,000 raids in the country on Sunday alone, which is up from just under 300 on Saturday. Here at the detention center in Miramar, things have been quiet for several hours, but we will continue to monitor this situation and bring you the developing news on raids in South Florida as they happen. In Miramar, I'm Chelsea.
All right. Former Senator Bob Menendez sentenced to 11 years in prison. He hid a bunch of gold in the walls of his house or something.
Former U.S. Senator Bob.
Oh, this is Seattle news.
Menendez was sentenced to 11 years in prison today for accepting bribes and acting as an agent of a foreign country. In July, Menendez was found guilty of 16 corruption charges after an FBI raid on his home found $480,000 in cash and $150,000 in gold bars. The money in gold bars were bribes from the government of Egypt. It earned him the nickname Gold Bar Bob. The Democrat from New Jersey was the
Egyptian gold bars.
First public official to be convicted of serving as a foreign agent. Still, Menendez claims he's innocent of any crimes.
Regardless of...
He's pretty old, too, so 11 years that's a long 11 years. It's 11 years he might not make it through.
Judge's comments today. I am innocent, and I look forward to filing appeals on a whole host of issues. This whole process has been nothing but a political witch hunt by the Justice Department's NSD and prosecutors who are more interested in political scalps.
Menendez will start his prison term on June 6th, which will allow him to attend his wife's corruption trial in March. She's also facing bribery charges.
Damn. Shit. That took a while, too. I remember that first being mentioned quite some time ago. All right. Old lady cans. Oh, here's I think this is another local one. I get recommended a lot of local news stuff when I go to YouTube to look for news. So I'll get Seattle's Fox station or Seattle's CBS station.
On Monday, President Donald Trump signed 4 executive orders that have the potential to reshape parts of the U.S. military. Included is a new policy on transgender service members and ending diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the military. Initiatives like these have been among the president's top priorities throughout his first few days in office. Right now, the executive order pertaining to transgender service members isn't expected to remove anyone from service, but rather change where they sleep and get dressed and bathe. Now, this would also reinstate a policy from Trump's first term, barring trans people from enlisting and serving openly. Here's what the president said back in 2017.
Look, I have great respect for the community. I think I have great support.
I got great respect for the community.
Or I've had great support from that community. I got a lot of votes. But the transgender, the military is working on it now. They're doing the work. It's been a very difficult situation. And I think I'm doing a lot of people a favor by coming out and just saying it. As you know, it's been a very complicated issue for the military. It's been a very confusing issue for the military.
It's very confusing. I'm so confused.
I'm doing the military a great favor.
Now today, I talked with a U.S. Marine who lives in Kelso, Washington. Ethan Fighter identifies as transgender and served in the Marine Corps.
Okay, so Kelso, Washington. So this isn't Seattle news, I don't think.
As a reservist and bulk fuel specialist for 2 years before leaving their contract early. Here's what Ethan has to say about Trump's executive orders.
I think if, these things are enacted in the military, it's going to further separate, LGBTQ community people in the military further, and it's going to put them in more compromising positions.
And from firsthand experience, how hard is that mentally?
I mean, it's kind of hard to describe. It's hard to feel that,
The yellow thing appears to be some kind of ribbon. I'm not sure what it's all about.
Yeah, it's just, it's complete denial of yourself.
The order mandates that the Defense Department update its military medical standards within 60 days to promptly, quote, end invented and identification-based pronoun usage and prohibit people assigned male at birth from using women's sleeping, changing, and bathing facilities. What do you make of that?
Wow. I think it's going to affect a lot of people. I think a lot of people who are trans and wanting to serve and do something good are going to see that and feel even worse, because now it's like even when they're trying to participate in the system, it's rejecting them. Also, just the fact that this is an official document that sees these things as made up, as invented, is incredibly insulting.
Now, during their service, Ethan identified as male. They were afraid to come out publicly at the time for fear of bullying and retaliation. Ethan tells me it was the most isolating experience of their life.
The way that this interview is shot is weird, how they cut back to the studio where she kind of narrates what's going to happen next.
I just wanted to fit in, and it was very difficult. I was called during rifle training. The person who was teaching us would always call me Fairy all the time, and I couldn't say anything back. Obviously, I was in boot camp, so they tell you you're less than dirt when you're a recruit.
Okay.
Recruits aren't humans in their methodology. So, this person calling me Fairy, outing me in front of my whole unit, and, just kind
Fairy.
of generally calling me a name that is basically a slur.
Do you guys remember basketball? There was the San Francisco Fairies.
And then just having to take that and just be like, haha, yeah, it's a joke. Wasn't fun. And
I don't understand why people would want to join the military. I've known plenty of people that joined the military, and even a few I went to high school with that made it their career and they just stayed in the military. But I was never like, oh, that sounds like a fun idea. No, it never sounded appealing to me.
Obviously, that person in power doing that made it to where everyone else saw me as this sort of lesser entity, and so no one ever talked to me. No one ever wanted to be around me.
Ethan fears these executive orders could further isolate the LGBTQ+ community in the military.
Find someone who...
Here's me back in the studio with a little more narration of my interview.
Can genuinely respond and genuinely tell you how it is for them, because, I can talk about it all day, but you aren't going to know what it is to be that and to experience that until you've talked to
This person doesn't seem wacko to me.
President Trump's executive order won't go into effect right away.
They didn't seem insane. They seem pretty, calm.
It'll take some time, so that means trans service members won't be immediately ejected from the service. Now, the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs...
we need some people to join the military, so...
sent us the following statement saying, quote, they're actively reviewing changes and actions at the federal level and how they may impact Oregon. As it does so, the agency stands proudly and unequivocally beside every veteran who served our nation with honor, regardless of sexual orientation, race, or gender identity.
Okay. Oregon's Department of Veterans Affairs. I wonder if this is Portland news. They didn't say what their news station was. I think Kelso might be closer. Let me see. KLSO, Washington. Kelso, Washington is like, yeah, Kelso's like down near, it's closer to Portland than it is to Seattle. So this might have been like Portland local news. Trump administration offers buyouts to nearly all federal workers.
Before his election, Trump made a campaign promise to reduce government spending, and now he is making 2 million federal workers an offer to leave their jobs.
He's not even making the changes to the military that are important. That's the big problem. It's like, oh, we don't want the transgenders in the military. I mean, there's bigger problems with the military, like the bloated military budget. We could still remain the ultimate military power on earth and cut back on a lot of the military stuff. And even, I mean, there's probably a few bases we could stand to close too. I don't think we should close all foreign bases, especially in places where there's like Taiwan and North Korea over there. Like I do agree with having a lot of bases in Asia. I don't know if we need one in Cuba anymore. And I don't know if we need one in Germany anymore. You know, but I'm not a military strategist, so I could be completely wrong.
But can he, and how will that work? And is it legal? NBC7's Kelvin Henry joins us to break it down.
This applies to all federal workers except...
Because, like, we have in Asia, there's like Japan, and there's Guam out there a little further out, and there's South Korea. Those are the places I know of where there's like U.S. military over there. The night gargle visions.
For people in the military, those involved with immigration enforcement and national security, and postal workers. Now today, leaders are weighing in, and an attorney I spoke with say that this may be a bumpy road ahead.
This is part of Donald Trump's effort to shrink the scope of the federal government.
Attorney Dan Eaton explains what the offer is.
Well, it's a buyout in the sense that if you resign, we're going to give you this money.
The offer was emailed to federal employees on Tuesday afternoon. According to the Congressional Research Service, the federal government employs around 2 million civilians, of which tens of thousands are right here in San Diego County. A Trump administration official tells NBC News they expect between 5 to 10% of the workforce to accept the deal, which they estimate will lead to...
Looks like there's like a strong U.S. military presence in the Philippines, too.
...to around $100 billion in savings. But Dan Eaton questions if those estimates are accurate and what will happen next.
We're not sure how many people are going to accept it, and whether it actually results in a substantial reduction will depend on that. So what happens if enough people don't accept this offer? Does the federal government take the next step of saying, okay, well, we're simply going to...
Yeah, I mentioned Germany earlier.
...to eliminate your position.
The uncertain path, details, and rollout are leading some attorneys to discuss if this is legal.
Drastic times call for drastic measures.
Speaker of the House of
We need to get rid of PBS.
Representatives Mike Johnson, who is the leader of the body that controls the purse strings, supports the move.
The new president can't come in and just walk into an agency and say you're all fired. He's not allowed to do that under the law. And so the president is thinking outside the box.
But what if the offer changes?
People are not going to want to resign and then later be told, oh, by the way, we accept your resignation, but we're not going to pay you for this time through September.
Eaton says one thing is certain, this offer won't be a straight and easy path ahead.
This is the first word on an effort to shrink the federal government workforce. But it won't be the only word, and it won't be the last word.
Only time will tell when that last word comes. Kelvin Henry, NBC7.
So they don't even know. They're trying to buy out the contracts of current federal employees. Do they want to like lower the wages and then try to hire like less qualified people to do all these federal jobs. Is the post office part of that too? Is Trump going to like raise the price of postage or something? Didn't he do something with the Postmaster General during the election because it was all mail-in ballots? There was something. I remember it, but I don't remember the details. U.S. lawmakers concerned about Chinese influence on Panama Canal.
And they built the thing called the Panama Canal.
Just days after taking office, President Donald Trump told Republican lawmakers he wants the key global shipping lane, the Panama Canal, back under U.S. control, saying American shipping is not being treated fairly.
China essentially has taken it over, and we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen.
I love China.
It was the biggest investment to this day ever made by the country.
Republican lawmakers said Tuesday the canal poses a national security risk.
Chinese companies are right now building a bridge across the canal at a slow pace so as to take nearly a decade. And Chinese companies control container ports at either end. The partially completed bridge gives China the ability to block the canal without warning. And the ports give China ready observation posts to time that action. This situation, I believe, poses acute risks to U.S. national security. Meanwhile, the high fees for canal transit disproportionately affect Americans.
Essentially China, bud.
Essentially.
The United States built the canal in 1914 and operated it until 1977, when it transferred control to Panama. Earlier this month, Panamanian President Jose Raul Mulino said the canal would continue to belong to his country.
Panama sigue adelante.
Panama is not distracted by this.
It's weird how we're becoming more isolationist. You know, the Gulf of America and like deport all the illegals and all that kind of shit. But then like we're also trying to control various things around the world now. And annex Canada. I don't think Trump will even actually try that one. That was just him talking, I think. Maybe he will.
Type of pronouncement. Over time, we have been an ally and friend of the United States.
About 72% of the goods transiting
isolationist and expansionist. Yeah,
the
that's a good way
canal
of putting
are coming either to or from American markets. The Panama Canal Treaty protects the international neutrality of the shipping lane and allows the U.S. to intervene if that is threatened.
If Panama signed a treaty with the People's Republic of China, whereby the latter would operate the canal on Panama's behalf, this would be a clear violation. But what if Panama contracted for port operations with a Chinese state firm, or even a private firm influenced or controlled in part by the Chinese government? In other words, a company need not be owned by the government to be in part controlled by the government.
Senator Maria Cantwell, the top Democrat on the Senate Commerce Committee, called for stronger trade agreements and increases in cybersecurity to address the problem.
The larger issue is we need to understand what are the shortfalls of the current agreement that doesn't get at this upgraded technology concern. I would hope that Panama would be very cooperative in discussing these cybersecurity investments and what needs to be made.
One analyst told VOA proposed legislation like the Americas Act could help address those problems.
At the end of the day, it really does come down to investment in the Americas. It's the most powerful tool for countering China's growing influence in the region. Because commerce then means that the countries in which this investment is going to create more jobs. You're going to have more prosperity. You'll see fewer people needing to migrate to the United States.
In his first international trip as Secretary of State, Marco Rubio is set to visit Panama in early February. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Washington.
Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz chairs hearing on Panama Canal.
U.S. Senator Ted Cruz.
I think we saw a little
clip
of this. It's just the same shit. Let's do.
Let me just say this in conclusion, Chairman Cassidy. President Trump and Mr. Kennedy are quite right when they say that our system is broken. They're right. Our economic system today is broken. 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Wages have been stagnant for American workers for 50 years. The economy is broken. You know what? Our political system is broken and corrupt. You have a handful of billionaires in both political parties who contribute huge amounts of money to elect candidates in this room throughout the United States Congress. That is a broken political system and a real threat to democracy. Our healthcare system is broken. And it's broken for some of the reasons that Mr. Kennedy indicated. We have not paid attention to the fact that we have massive amounts of chronic disease. We have not answered the question why in the richest country in the history of the world, our life expectancy is lower than it is in countries far poorer than we are. So I think in many ways, President Trump and Mr. Kennedy have asked some of the right questions. Problem is their answers will only make a bad situation worse. So let me ask Mr. Kennedy again. If we want to make America healthy, will you assure the American people that you will fight to do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to every single American?
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate
PACs. You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question. You have not answered my question.
Mr. Chairman, we're 3 minutes.
How
do we make America healthy if you don't guarantee health care?
Chairman, we're literally 3 minutes over here now.
Well,
how long does it keep going? At some time, you're just battering the witness, Bernie.
Not battering the witness.
Yes, you are. And you're getting upset at him. You're going at him just like anybody else.
Oh, this guy. What a joker. I hate this guy.
We'll come to order. Bernie's going over.
You're battering poor RFK. Battering the witness. Bernie was like, oh no, I'm not taking this shit. He didn't take corporate PAC money. He took individual donations. I don't even think we should have this electoral system where it relies on all these donations. I don't know if that's the best way to go about choosing the leaders. You know, the people who make the laws and all of that. What's this?
Before I close, I want to warn the American people who are watching at home. You may hear lies and smears in this hearing that'll challenge my loyalty to and my love for our country. Those who oppose my nomination imply that I am loyal to something or someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution
Putin is her God
of the United States, accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet, not recognizing the absurdity of simultaneously being the puppet of 5 different puppet masters.
Hey, maybe there's
The
one
same
puppet
tactic
master
was
above
used
all of
against
them.
President Trump.
Elisa
and
Aduru.
failed.
Okay. Wow, that was a short clip.
Again, Chairman Cotton, Vice Chairman Warner, and all of the members of the committee, it's an honor to be here before you today. I've appreciated the opportunity to meet with so many of you and address your questions and concerns before today's hearing. Restore trust in those who've been charged with the critical task.
Just for a follow-up question, Senator Wyden.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gabbard, there was an area that I believe is still uncertain, and this is what my question's about. Earlier this week, the Trump administration illegally attempted to withhold federal funds from a broad range of organizations. I'm interested in knowing what you would do if President Trump told you to withhold congressionally approved funds from the Intelligence Community Inspector General. So my question is, if President Trump orders you to withhold appropriated funds from the Inspector General, will you refuse that illegal order?
I don't believe for a second President Trump would ask me to do something that would break the law.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if you are asked about an illegal order, what will you do? You can say, oh, it'll never happen. What will you do if you're dealing with an illegal order?
My commitment has been and will be, if confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, to comply with the law.
Are there, Senator Wyden, you've actually asked two questions already, Senator
I'm not
Wyden.
asking a question.
You've asked two questions. I said there's one question allowed. Are there others?
Okay. All right. So I am going to take a quick break here. I will be right back in just a moment, and we will continue everything. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Hello, everyone. How's it going? All right. We're back. Just deleting some of these videos that I've used. Oh, here's another one from Tulsi Gabbard.
Colonel Gabbard, when Russia was denying Assad's use of chemical weapons, they accused the U.S. of supporting terrorists.
By the way, please like the stream, and also, if anyone out there wants to help us get closer to the goal, please use the link pinned in the top of the chat.
This is a line that Putin used frequently during the Syrian civil war as he supported Assad. Syrian officials made similar comments. They did it repeatedly. They did it in public. They did it at the United Nations. In 2016, you gave an interview in which you said, and this is a quote, "The U.S. is providing direct and indirect support to terrorist groups in order to overthrow the Syrian government." And in 2019, on the Democratic presidential debate stage, you said of President Trump, this is a quote, "This current president is continuing to betray us. We were supposed to be going after al-Qaeda, but over years now, not only have we not gone after al-Qaeda, our president is supporting al-Qaeda." So I'm interested to hear, what was your goal in saying these things? And did you consider, before saying them, the motives of Iran and Russia, what their motives might have been before making these claims?
Senator, as someone who enlisted in the military specifically because of al-Qaeda's terrorist attack on 9/11 and committing myself and my life to doing what I could to defeat these terrorists, it was shocking and a betrayal to me and every person who was killed on 9/11, their families and my brothers and sisters in uniform. When, as a member of Congress, I learned about President Obama's dual programs that he had begun really to overthrow the regime of Syria, and being willing to, through the CIA's Timber Sycamore program that has now been made public, of working with and arming and equipping al-Qaeda in an effort to overthrow that regime, starting yet another regime change war in the Middle East. DOD train and equip program, again, begun under President Obama, is widely been known, looked at, and studied, that ultimately resulted in over $500 million being used to train who they called moderate rebels, but were actually fighters working with and aligned with al-Qaeda's affiliate on the ground in Syria, all to move forward with their regime change and not acknowledging what was obvious at the time and what has unfortunately borne true, which was that a regime change war in Syria, much like the regime change wars in Iraq, the toppling of Gaddafi and Mubarak, while these are all dictators, would likely result in the rise of Islamist extremists like al-Qaeda taking power. I shed no tears for the fall of the Assad regime, but today we have an Islamist extremist who is now in charge of Syria.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really disagree with a lot of what she's saying right here.
As I said, who danced on the streets to celebrate the 9/11 attack, who ruled over Idlib with an Islamist extremist governance, and who has already begun to persecute and kill and arrest religious minorities like Christians in Syria.
I understand.
Why that should be acceptable to anyone is beyond me.
It shouldn't
is
be.
certainly
and
not in our
interests. I appreciate your answer, and thank you. My concern has to do with the tendency to repeat Russian and Syrian, and even in some cases, I think we'll get into in the closed session, Iranian information, and to discount what comes from our intelligence community.
Senator, every American deserves to know that people in our own government were providing support to our sworn enemy, al-Qaeda. That should not be acceptable by anyone.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. Ms. Gabbard.
If that was happening, then yeah, that is definitely a problem. Yeah. There wasn't too much for me to disagree with there. Otherwise, I would have, like, that shouldn't have been happening. And if you were someone in the military that got into, the federal government as a senator or congressperson, then you should, if you learn something like that, that would be fucked up to know about. That she is yes, she is gleaming white right now.
Let's get to some breaking news into us out of the White House and from Silicon Valley. President Trump,
she's as pure as a morning snow,
has signed an agreement with Meta to settle a lawsuit that he filed against the company for suspending his account after the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, 4 years ago. The settlement we understand to be $25 million, most of which is going towards his future presidential library. This story first was reported by the Wall Street Journal. Meta says it has no comment on that, but says they can confirm that $22 million number to the Trump library. Garrett Haake is at the White House. Garrett, this is so interesting for a lot of reasons here. And I know you've just confirmed this with some of your sources here. It's our understanding, I think, that President Trump signed this settlement that has to do with Meta and the attack on the Capitol sitting in the Oval Office today.
Well, it looks like a lot of this was discussed, apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal sources, a detail that I have yet to confirm but hope to nail down shortly, during the time that he was being sentenced during the transition on the New York City hush money case. So, yeah, look.
So there's a 25. So Meta, Facebook, they suspended Trump in 2021, I think after Jan 6, right? So they have to pay him $25 million now because of that. That's fucking bonkers.
The top line number here is extraordinary, $25 million, most of that money going to this fund that, as best I can tell, doesn't actually exist yet for a future Trump presidential library. You'll remember that that's what happened with the defamation settlement that the president...
Oh, they're going to build Trump, two-term president. Most modern era presidents get a presidential library, so there will be one. I wonder where it'll be. Will it be in Florida or will it be in Manhattan? Where would they put it?
Against ABC and ABC News.
I could see Trump wanting it to be in Manhattan just as a fuck you to New York, being like, oh, you just banned me from doing business in New York? Well, I'm going to put my library there.
News, sort of the start of funding this library tends to be coming from these lawsuits that the president has filed somewhere along the way. And it comes amid this obviously thawing and improving relationship with Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Meta, that has been so notable as the president's assembled this kind of kitchen cabinet of tech moguls around him, including Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and others. This lawsuit seems to be kind of the one last remaining sticking point between the president and Zuckerberg's Meta, which has now reinstated the president, of course, on all of its platforms.
And remind people why Donald Trump previously, right, I guess then President Trump, again President Trump, was suspended by Meta in the first place. Because when that happened, that was a huge, huge news story. It was extremely significant.
He was getting banned off of a lot of platforms.
This is a fallout from the then president's comments about January 6th and what had caused that. His
we love you,
about
you're very special.
Election fraud. It was sort of one of the first major steps taken, around the same time as the impeachment inquiries were getting underway in the House to ban President Trump from, of course, Twitter at the time, where he was most active, but also his platforms on Facebook and on Instagram, which are critical for politicians in a fundraising perspective. That ban persisted for quite some time and generated this lawsuit. Hallie, you know this well from having covered Donald Trump. He is a litigious person. He files a great deal of lawsuits, and frankly, we don't see many of them come to fruition or a close. I
remember he sued Bill Maher for saying that Bill Maher. He sued Bill Maher because of a joke Bill Maher made about one of his parents being an orangutan, and then he's like, "No, look at my birth." Oh, that was the joke. Bill Maher said he'd pay Trump this crazy amount of money if Trump showed his birth certificate to prove that one of his parents isn't an orangutan. So Trump did it hey, you made an offer to me and look, I proved it. Because it was back before Trump was president when he was saying Obama needed to show his birth certificate. And it was an obvious joke, but Trump literally sued Bill Maher because of it. And Trump spoke to the Scottish Parliament about windmills and how they needed to like get rid of windmills, and windmills are ugly and it's going to ruin their tourism industry if they keep building windmills. So he's got a lot of time to do a lot of bullshit.
This one, obviously, far from it even all these years later.
There is a fascinating detail in the initial Wall Street Journal article that I should note NBC News has not confirmed that says toward the end of the November dinner, so this is a dinner that we've reported on, or at least a visit to Mar-a-Lago by Mark Zuckerberg went down after
Zuckerberg is barely human. He's like an android.
Donald Trump won the election. Apparently, then soon-to-be President Trump raised the matter of the lawsuit, the People said. The president signaled that the litigation had to be resolved before Zuckerberg could be, quote unquote, brought into the tent, according to one of these sources speaking with the Wall Street Journal, Garrett, which is just
when they fucking when they Photoshop Zuckerberg to make him look like Data from Star Trek. I'm like, it's so awesome because he looks. Can Zuckerberg act? Because if they did like a reboot of TNG and they got new actors to play the characters, he he looks so much like Data. If they make he's already almost pale enough, and then when his hair is short like that. Oh my God. I love it.
so interesting when you think about what you have described, the evolution politically, it seems, of Mark Zuckerberg that he has been very clear about over the course of the last month or so, with Meta dropping independent fact checking, for example, Zuckerberg making public comments about how he sees this culture shift in this moment now that Donald Trump is in the White House.
Yeah, I mean, you see both of these men sort of moving towards each other culturally to one degree or another. And with Mark Zuckerberg's comments, Zuckerberg also an MMA fan, which is another thing that unites him with Donald.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. You see Zuck and Trump's and Dana White sitting front row at all the UFC events.
Trump. And that language from the president, again, not something I can confirm, it's based on the journal's unnamed sources, but is so consistent with the way that we know that Donald Trump talks about these issues and the way that he thinks about kind of loyalty and the people that he keeps close to him. So very striking to watch him bringing whatever was said in that meeting or not, he has clearly brought Zuckerberg into the tent now.
And you know who else he's brought into the tent? You referenced him earlier, Elon Musk. Not just into the tent, into the Beltway, friend, as you well know, because you're seeing it there on the White House campus there. You and others have reported on some of these very big clues, even just this week, that Musk is having quite the potentially heavy hand when it comes to some of these moves from the White House. That whole sort of deferred resignation to millions of federal workers had the same subject line, fork in the road, as an email that Musk sent, right, when he was taking over X, if you will. There has been a slew of reporting about people close to Musk, people involved in this sort of Silicon Valley tech world that now have positions at the Office of Personnel Management and at some other significant sort of White House related agencies here. Can you just big picture talk to us about this dynamic here? Because the Elon Musk story is now a political journalist's story, right? It's no longer the purview of the tech world.
No, absolutely. There is so much overlap now. And the White House is very careful not to sort of put Elon Musk's fingerprints on many things directly. Musk himself, much less careful, essentially claiming credit on X for this plan to effectively buy out.
Oh, my God. The new Three Stooges. And then there's Curly Joe in the back left there. What kind of face is Kennedy making there? Kennedy always looks like he's like, I don't know. He's even more orange than Trump, right? What color would you best describe Kennedy's face? He looks angry, like he's like about to have like red. Okay. Yeah, and Musk with his jacket. Fucking Kid Rock. God. He's copper? Is Kennedy a person of color? He Kennedy is like transracial because even though he's Irish, like he comes from Irish ancestry, he's a person of color. And Musk looks like he never goes outside. Compared to everybody I see that I recognize who they are. Like there's Ramaswamy back there. I recognize Ramaswamy in the background. They're like, yeah. Trump wants Musk and Kid Rock up front with him. And then you, Vivek and fucking Kennedy, you can just stand in the back. Kennedy has to stand like 5 rows behind them. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh shit. Trump wants to move migrants to Guantanamo.
Trump's immigration crackdown. And the breaking news tonight, the president is now planning to send tens of thousands of undocumented migrants to Guantanamo Bay. It comes as our Pierre Thomas witnessed.
So we're sending them. That's going to be our concentration camp, Guantanamo, where like it's like a military prison. Send them to the camps.
That began just before dawn this morning. In fact,
it's an offshore military prison.
From Baltimore to Aurora, Colorado tonight. And what our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has just learned tonight about where those undocumented migrants will be held at Guantanamo Bay. We took you to the prison holding terrorists there, right here on this broadcast. Tonight there are still terrorists there and now undocumented migrants soon on the way.
Weird.
Here's Pierre.
Tonight, ABC News given access to an immigration raid.
Yeah, let's make the undocumented migrants hang out with terrorism suspects who have been living there for over a decade. I mean, or like 20 years, right? Aren't there people that have been in Guantanamo for like 20 years? They've never like gone to a trial or anything. They're just there. They're like foreign terrorism suspects, like apprehended in, you know, both the Iraq and Afghani war.
So that they will collapse on them. Played out just before dawn near Baltimore. We're riding along with a tactical team led by ICE officers, along with ATF and the DEA. They're on a mission. Within minutes, we're on stakeout.
So we have
where's Dr. Phil?
4 targets so far this morning.
Dr. Phil.
First target is convicted of robbery.
2 hours go by as agents stalk the first suspect. Suddenly, it's go time. Police surround the suspect, who they say tried to escape. We see him sitting on the curb, handcuffed.
I need you to go get my car. I just got pulled over.
90 minutes later, ICE arresting another suspect in Baltimore. They say a convicted drug dealer who sold fentanyl and cocaine. He's among the more than 1,000 ICE arrests of undocumented migrants in the last 24 hours. The standpoint of ICE is simple. If you've been convicted of those kind of crimes, you're not leaving the country. But ICE acknowledges some undocumented migrants who don't have convictions are also being arrested.
Yeah, so the worst go first. Everyone's on the table, so...
The worst go first, but that's not actually what's happening.
Arrest this dude, and there's another person next to him who's also here illegally. We're going to start asking questions. And, you know, if we determine that person's illegal, they're coming with us.
Arrests taking place across the country. In Colorado today, federal agents say they detained a suspected member...
Yes, so like... If a bunch of undocumented workers work at some business and there's one of them that has like a criminal record, all of them are getting like detained and questioned and deported also. So regardless of if they have a record or not.
Of a notorious Venezuelan gang. And tonight, the breaking headline.
So there's a lot of collateral damage. It's not just the worst. There's collateral damage.
President Trump directing the Pentagon and DHS to prepare to hold up to 30,000 undocumented migrants at Guantanamo Bay before they are eventually deported back to their home countries. The Pentagon says they will not be held in the well-known detention facility that David toured in 2016, where some of the 9/11 terrorists have been held.
We can actually see the detainees. They cannot see us back through this glass.
And that moment from the roof when the prisoners did see us.
ABC News.
Tonight,
ABC News. Is that someone from like the Middle East?
15 detainees are still there. The president today also signed.
Wow.
Back through this glass.
And that moment from the roof when the prisoners did see us.
ABC News.
Tonight, 15 detainees are still there.
15? Huh.
The president today also signed the bipartisan Lake and Riley Act into law, requiring the detention of undocumented immigrants charged with crimes, but not yet convicted. The law named after the case that made national headlines. Lake and Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student, murdered by an undocumented migrant while jogging in Georgia. Today, Lincoln's mother, Allison, emotional.
There's no amount of change that will ever bring back.
We need a war on jogging. Jogging must stop.
Precious Lakin.
We have to put a stop to
I hope
jogging.
moving forward is that her life saves lives.
David, tonight, ICE officials are unapologetic. They say there are thousands of undocumented migrants who have been arrested and convicted of serious felonies and violence. They say they're coming for them, David.
And very moving words from that mother today, Pierre. Thank you.
Okay. There's too much news, and I'm tired of it. I'm getting news fatigue right now. I need to look for something else. So, all right. Weather? You know, we had our first snowfall, which is pretty crazy. We had our first ever stock tips. Oh my God. But yeah, we did have our first ever snowfall of this winter season today, but then it only lasted for like 20 minutes and then it stopped and then it turned back into rain. Because we're just getting a lot of rain. I don't have any stock tips, and the crypto I bought into that had a meteoric rise last month is now dropping. So we shall see. We'll see what happens. All right. Time is it? Oh yeah, I'm looking for a Jimmy Payne update. He hasn't been back. Who knows what he's up to? Let's see here. So right now, It's still doing okay. I bought into this crypto back in 2018, and I have a decent share of it. It shot up to, it was like at its peak like 390 for like a few minutes, but then it was around 340, and now it's dropped down to 290 right now. So here's today. It opened at 306, and now it's at like 289 and a half. So it's taken a drop. As long as it doesn't drop too far and holds, because it's still, like, in the grand scheme of things, way above where it was a month ago. I don't really know what to say about plane crashes unless we know, like, the details of what caused the plane crash. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Plane crashes are bad, and people died, and we just had the DC crash too. I don't know. I don't know the details. The one in DC was like a mid-air collision. It was crazy. Actually, I did see a crazy video. Where is it? Thought I downloaded it, but maybe not. Let me see here. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'll play this video here. It's pretty crazy. These people, okay, in this video, these people are about to walk outside to leave their house, and then that plane, that DC plane crashes, and it's insane. Watch this. You can see the plane going down. Watch. You can see the plane going down right there. That, like, fireball in the sky. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? They ran right back inside. Oh, is this Philly? Okay. Yes, this is from Philadelphia. I don't know, dude. It's crazy. Look at it. See? You just see it in the sky. Boom. Boom! Look how big the explosion is from it. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, it looks like it landed in a neighborhood. Well, you say landed, it crashed into a neighborhood. Boom. Yeah, that was crazy. That's some crazy shit. I don't know anything. I cannot provide financial information. I'm sorry. I am not qualified. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap this stream up, and I'll be back later tonight. I'll see all you guys there. And the VOD for this is going to be over on the Altered Perspective channel. All right? So I'll see you all next time.